It's time for the Sports Blitz, the only live-streamed local sports show in Arkansas, with all the latest on the sports stories that matter to you.
It's Friday on the Sports Blitz. We hope you're enjoying the last day of your work week, unless you're one of those poor saps who has to work Saturdays and Sundays, in which case, it's just another day. It's the end of the week for a lot of us. We appreciate you taking time out today to join us on the Sports Blitz. Mark Freeman, Maddie Lassiter, inside the Cogswell Motors Studios. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. The college basketball season tips tonight. May not be the most interesting thing to some of you, but I love college basketball. March Madness, the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament. The 16 games each day. The best 2 days in sports, in my opinion. Because you've got so much variety, so many upsets. That's several months from now. But the college basketball season tips tonight. Got high school football. This is probably one of the most important sports days of the year. And I mean, saying that, I don't know. For a lot of people in this area, you'll go watch the Hogs play tonight, or you'll watch your local high school team play. And tonight, it locks up playoff berths. It locks up conference championships. It sets seeding for the playoffs. There's a lot of things that are going to be determined tonight in high school football. And maybe I should have said this weekend is a big one. The Hogs football, now they don't have anything to play for. If they beat Ole Miss, they could have an outside shot at a bowl game, because then they could beat Mississippi State and LSU and make a bowl. But, yeah. And then you've got the NFL on Sunday. So, lots of storylines to talk about. Need to talk a little bit more about this Richie Incognito, Jonathan Martin, Miami Dolphins fiasco. I've been shocked by the news cycle. I understand that people's opinions, kind of changes as more information comes out. But man, I've heard some stuff that just makes me question some people. Even Maddie, who we'll probably talk about it here in just a little bit, and I'll tell you why I think Maddie's crazy. It's a long list, so we've got Jason hopefully coming on at 11:30. He'll give us a call, talk a little sports. Hogs looking to get a big commit today if they can from DeAndre Goolsby, a tight end out of Florida, hoping that he'll choose the Hogs. He's going to make his decision here in a little bit. It would be a big thing for the Hogs to get a commitment rather than lose them like they have the last few days. I guess it was a couple weeks ago, Jermaine Illuminor, talented junior college offensive lineman, who picked Arkansas over Ohio State and Alabama and Texas A&M, decided he'd rather go to Texas A&M. I'll be honest with you, I couldn't blame him. He's a junior college guy, so he doesn't want to be a part of a process, a rebuilding mode. He wanted to come in and be able to win immediately. They convinced him that was going to be possible. As he watches the team this year, he knows, I don't know about that. So he chooses to go to Texas A&M. And then another cornerback, the number 3 ranked cornerback out of California, his name's Quishy Brown. He decommits from Arkansas, doesn't name another team. Looks like he's going to stay out west, though, and play in the Pac-12. He said, I'm more of a Pac-12 kind of guy, which tells me that he's not much of a man.
Not very good.
Well, I mean, not that. He just doesn't want to have to go and be in the meat grinder that is the SEC.
Yeah, when I read the report, I was like, so you're saying that you're not as good? That really is what it means. Like, I'm more of a Pac-12, not as good conference player. I'm not ready for the SEC. And if you think that, then please stay over there.
Yeah, well, I think he's the number 3 JUCO corner in the country. Arkansas in the past, Darius Winston, he was like a top 5 corner in the country. He was a 5-star player, and he turned into a big steaming pile of crap for 4 years. So those rankings don't mean too much to me for the most. So hopefully Arkansas can start gaining some commitments rather than losing them. It's a little bit frustrating. You see the product on the field's not good. I did hear that Brett Bielema said he didn't want to go the JUCO route. He would rather build from the high school ranks. To me, that just speaks of a longer process. I would like to get the best players that I could next year. If it's a 2-year thing and you can build up high school players underneath, those guys who are immediate starters. That's kind of what I thought they were trying to do this year when they got all these offensive linemen. They got and linebackers. You got Mike Tavares. You got on the offensive line McClure. You've got a corner in Carroll Washington, and you try to put these guys in at big positions and have them make an immediate impact, and most of them didn't. So maybe he's just decided, all right, well, I'm not going to go with the quick fix if it's not going to necessarily work. I'm going to get a guy who I think I can build up to be what I need him to be and go that way. So we'll see how that works. I saw the other day, and we may look at it here in a little bit, Pat Bradley tweeted, former Razorback basketball player, tweeted a picture of the top paid coaches in college football. Did you see that list? It was Nick Saban number 1 at 5-point-something million. Mac Brown number 2, 5-point-something million. Brett Bielema number 3, 5-point-something million. Now, I know that part of it is his compensation from Wisconsin. It's bonuses, it's buyout. It's all that stuff that Arkansas is paying to have Brett Bielema. His salary, it's a measly 3-point-some million, just chump change. I found that on the couch this morning. But he's number 3 in the country as far as how much money Arkansas is paying for Brett Bielema's services. I asked an unfair question the other day. I said, is he worth it? I was just trying to poke the bear because I knew people would see that and think, oh my God, we've won 3 games. He's not worth it. So I apologize for that. I don't want to say that means that he's not worth it or whatever, but because it's a process, and we knew that we were going to stink this year. So we'll get to Hog Talk here in a little bit. Like I said, college basketball begins tonight. You get to see the McDonald's All-American team, Kentucky, play tonight again. I think they're playing Louisiana Monroe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. Kentucky's playing UNC Asheville. It was Kansas and Andrew Wiggins who's playing Louisiana Monroe. I want to see that guy play. If all the hype is true, you're going to see LeBron James in high school form. I say high school, year out of high school form. You're not, because Andrew Wiggins is not that good, but they're doing him a disservice by talking about him like that. But regardless, we'll see. We'll see those teams taking on their openers tonight. Most of them cupcakes. Arkansas takes on Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville. SIU Edwardsville Hogs looking to get a big win to start the season. Still going to be without Kai Madden, starting point guard. Well, who everybody assumed to be the starting point guard. 3-game suspension. Missed the 2 exhibitions. He'll miss this opener. Don't know really what he did, but it was a violation of team rules, and he is going to be coming back, I guess, next week if he is a good boy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Kai Madden, and hopefully we'll get to Hog basketball here in a little bit. We'll break some of that down. Tonight's River Valley Leader featured game of the week as we transition into our Peters Family Living local sports look is a high school matchup between the Dardanelle Sand Lizards and the Mena Bearcats. The Fighting Jared White. So we appreciate Jared White, who's a golf coach and assistant basketball coach for the high school at Dardanelle. He's actually the junior high head basketball coach at Dardanelle, former Mena Bearcat, playing against his own alma mater in conference. It's got to be rough, but big shout out to him. Dardanelle Mena tonight. It's probably the only local game of any consequence because Dardanelle, they're going to make the playoffs. It appears that you're going to have Boonville and Maumelle playing tonight for the 1 and 2 spot. The winner gets the 1 seed, the loser gets the 2. Pottsville will be the 3 unless they lose tonight, and Dardanelle will get the 4 unless something just crazy happens. I'd have to look at the standings to see if there's anybody who could challenge Dardanelle for the 4. Regardless, Pottsville's going to get a win tonight. I think they're playing Waldron, and I think Russellville Junior High could beat Waldron. So we'll see if they play their starters, if they rest them. If Dardanelle's locked into the 4 seed, I don't know if they'll play their starters, but you never want to lose a game at home, so they'll try to get the win there tonight. Russellville traveling to Greenwood tonight, trying to knock off the Bulldogs and end that long winning streak. The Cyclones knowing that they're going to have to make a run, if they're going to have to turn some things around, if they're going to make a run in the 6A state playoffs, and Greenwood's the big dog, they're the bully on the block, they may not even try to play in this game if it weren't for that winning streak. Now, I know Greenwood doesn't. They just want to win every game. Every time they lace it up, they want to win. But this is one of those Peyton Manning specials where Greenwood's got everything locked up. They're the 1 seed, and they beat everybody else. If they were able to, if they weren't on such a huge winning streak that's getting all these headlines, then they might just set everybody out because they've got it all locked up. And, if all goes according to form for them, they'll just jump out to a huge lead on Russellville and then sit their starters. But we're hoping here in Cyclone Country that they can get the win against Greenwood and just end that winning streak. And we can be an answer to trivia questions for years to come. Pottsville, we mentioned at Waldron tonight. Waldron is terrible. I mean, you look up terrible in the dictionary and you're going to see a picture of the Waldron Bulldogs. I should say no offense, but how can you not take offense to that? I'm sorry, Waldron fans, if you're watching right now. Your team's not very good. Got a nice new facility, I hear, but Pottsville's going to get a win tonight. Dardanelle hosts Mena. Clarksville at Morrilton. Lamar is going to be at Paris tonight. I think they've got the 2 seed locked up in that conference, if I'm not mistaken, because of the let me think here. They beat Atkins last week. I think Atkins lost to Lavaca, so Lavaca may be the number 2 seed and Atkins the number 3. I may have that wrong, though. Atkins is hosting Danville tonight. That's going to be a fun one there in conference as the Red Devils and the Danville Little Johns will lock it up, and we'll see how Atkins responds to a rough week, man. They had a player last week, if you not remember or if you hadn't heard, who just basically dropped out in the middle of the game, is just standing there, and the next thing you know, they said he just fell like a ton of bricks and hit right on his face on the ground. It was a scary moment in Lamar last week for the Atkins. I don't even remember his name. We've got it on our Facebook page where somebody let us know about what happened. So we'll have to just, I guess, continue to wish him well and hope he recovers from his injury last week. Two Rivers, they got a 39-6 win over Benton Harmony Grove last week, if I'm not mistaken. And I had this written down, but I lost it. So let me look at their schedule real quickly at Fearless Friday. Hector lost just last night? What? Really? They lost at Glen Rose 56-13. No, that's not them. There's no way. That's Two Rivers. Two Rivers lost last night at Glen Rose 56-14. So they've ended their season, their regular season, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 4. They lost to 3A Atkins. They lost to Fountain Lake, who's always a very, very good team. Center Point, and then Glen Rose, who Glen Rose is always really, really good. So that's the Two Rivers Gators. I always mix them up with Hector for some reason. I have no idea why. Hector's going to win the conference, though. They actually, I think they did. They beat Johnson County Westside, and now they are heading into the 2A state playoffs in very, very good form. They got a 51-8 win over Johnson County Westside last night, so they're looking to move into the playoffs and make a run there. We appreciated our talk with Mark Taylor of the Hector Wildcats a couple weeks ago. You can go back and find the archives and watch that. He was a really good interview. While we're talking about it, though, we had Danville, who lost to Paris last week, and Dover, who beat Waldron. Dover's trying to start a winning streak as they take on Subiaco Academy. I have to make sure, though, because some of these stinking teams played last night, and it all got me out of whack here. So, that's going to be tonight, where Dover's going to play at Subiaco Academy. I apologize for that. I had all these games written down like they were playing tonight, and I completely forgot that the last week of the season they sometimes play games on Thursday. So those are your local games that are taking place tonight. We talked to Coach Doug Carlskin of the Arkansas Tech men's basketball team, and they played against the University of the Ozarks on Monday night. Got a win. I think it was 82-69, 6 threes and 22 points overall from Tyler Friedel. You may recognize that name. His brother Brandon Friedel was an All-American back in the day for Arkansas Tech, back in the day of about 4 years ago. So they've got another Friedel running in there. I think he's a sophomore. He may even be a junior. Man, I'm getting old. But they got a win 82-69, and they're season opener. Well, I say season opener. They had an exhibition first game against a big Stephen F. Austin team there in Huntsville, Texas, I believe is where they're based out of. And so they got the second exhibition win. They're looking to start their regular season here in the next couple days. And the Arkansas Tech football team, 4-5 and 4-4 in the GAC, will play in Thone Stadium for the final 2 games of the year. They're going to take on Southeastern Oklahoma at 2 o'clock on Saturday. So those of you that are looking for a good game, if you can't make the road trip to the Grove for the Hogs, you can come to Arkansas Tech at Thone Stadium at Burkle Field, and you can check out the Wonder Boys at 2 o'clock tomorrow. We've got plenty more on the Sports Blitz before Jason comes on at 11:30. I want to just talk with Maddie because he and I think have differing opinions on this Richie Incognito, Jonathan Martin, Miami Dolphins situation.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. You know, we've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
here's what you missed.
Updated news.
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
Developing stories.
There's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
And weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
Count on. KARK4 today.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peters Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peters Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
Guys, there's breaking news across the Twitter wire right now. Stanford beat Oregon 26-20 last night, knocked the Ducks from the ranks of the unbeaten, and I can tell you why. Just looking at Twitter right now, shocking news. After a night when they just got thoroughly dominated for most of the game, Oregon comes out with the information that talented quarterback Marcus Mariota, who I had in the lead for the Heisman, has a partially sprained MCL. I don't know how you partially... I have a partially sprained ankle. You know, I turned my ankle and it partially... Give me a break. You either sprained it or you didn't. It's not like a cracked bone that's partially broken. It's a... anyway, I'm not a doctor, so maybe there is a real deal partial sprain, but it just makes me kind of laugh thinking that the night after a game when you just get thoroughly dominated for most of the game, that you would have a partially sprained ankle. Or, well, no, MCL. 250 yards passing and 2 touchdowns for Oregon. Marcus Mariota was really just window dressing because Stanford was ahead 26-0 with about 5 minutes left in the game. Oregon scored a touchdown, got the ball back, scored another touchdown. I guess the last points came on a blocked field goal. Or I may be mistaken how they actually happened. Let me get these right because I don't want to be that guy. They scored a touchdown. Then they, with 10 minutes left to make it 26-7, and then with 5 minutes left, they had the blocked field goal, 65-yard field goal return for a touchdown. And then with 2 minutes left, they had a touchdown pass for Mariota to Pharaoh Brown to make it 26-20. They failed the onside kick, and Stanford ran the clock out. Watching Stanford last night, though, 45 carries for 157 yards for Tyler Gaffney. Just, wow, 45 carries. You're trying to kill a kid. I know he's a upperclassman. He's been there a little while. He's a former minor league baseball player, which they, when ESPN guys, and I don't need to bash them because I do the same thing sort of, when they find something out about you, they will wear it out like they know you. Just perfectly, they know you from your whole life. He's a minor league baseball player, and they'll say it 4,000 times during the game. Gaffney played some baseball. They ran the ball freaking 66 times and threw it 13. I know what they were doing, and I tweeted it during the game when it was 26-0. I said Stanford is emasculating Oregon right now. They are absolutely dominating Oregon, just trying their best to demoralize them. And not only that, but they were trying to keep the ball away from them because they knew that Oregon had that high-flying offense. Hey, DeAnthony Thomas, how's that? We're going to score 40 working out for you. You got halfway there, and you got lucky to get that, really, because Stanford, they started relying on the run, and it was just run. And then whenever you can't get the first down when all you're doing is running, and things start getting a little hairy there. I'll be honest with you. I don't want that style of play. I hate it. I know what they were doing, what they were trying to accomplish with it. Run the clock, control the ball, control the line of scrimmage, win the game. It worked, barely. In that style of play, though, you have so little room for error that if you do, and I was talking to Maddie about this before the show, if you want to have that, run the ball 3 times, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, if you do it a couple times and you don't get a first down, they go down and score, and you're in bad shape because Stanford doesn't want to throw the ball. They only threw it 13 times in the game. 97 QBR from Kevin Hogan. That's pretty good. Of course, he was 7 for 13, so he didn't have the ball in his hands a whole lot. He did rush 8 times for 57 yards and a touchdown, but Stanford just got to give them credit. Nobody expected them to win that game. They're number 5 in the country, and I didn't even talk about the game on Wednesday because I was like, Stanford's going to get beat. Oregon's going to put a hurting on them. Marcus Mariota's going to win the Heisman. Now things have sort of turned on their head. I've got, obviously, Alabama number 1, Florida State number 2. You're going to see Ohio State number 3. You're going to see Baylor number 4, Stanford number 5. That's my opinion of how things are going to work right now. Maybe Stanford could jump Ohio State because Ohio State doesn't play anybody. I would not be opposed to that at all. But Oregon has fallen from the ranks of the unbeaten, and now you've got 2 8-1 teams. Stanford ahead due to that 6-1 record in the Pac-12. Pac-12 has shot itself in the foot as far as national championship hopes, though, because it didn't look like Baylor's going to lose. They got a 41-12 win over Oklahoma last night. Number 6 in the country just pounds number 10, Oklahoma, in that one. Doesn't look like Baylor's going to lose, putting up a lot of points offensively. They do have, in the rest of their schedule, number 25, Texas Tech, so that could be a really high-scoring game. And then I shouldn't say they're not going to lose because they're playing on the road at Oklahoma State. Number 14, Oklahoma State, on the 23rd. So they've got a couple tough ones, really. I guess their 5 toughest games come right in a row at the end of the year as Oklahoma started the stretch of Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas. So if they were going to lose, it's going to be in the next 4 weeks, but maybe Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, one of those 2 teams could knock off Baylor. I don't think they're that good. I think Florida State, I was wrong on them, man. I had Clemson winning the ACC, and Florida State has just dominated. And Trent Dilfer, man, he's looking more right by the day about Jameis Winston. He said he could be the number 1 overall pick right now. He said he is a future number 1 overall pick. And that dude is bad. He may even win the Heisman. I was looking at First Take this morning, and they've got him as the favorite, the new favorite to win the Heisman, above Mariota. I think he had like 56% of the vote. You had Johnny Manziel, number 2. It's really, I don't want to say it's by default because he's been really good. But I do feel like I was right in saying that the voters don't want to vote Johnny Manziel to win the Heisman because of how he carried himself off the field in the offseason. He's back in the conversation because he is still putting up ridiculous numbers. He is still the best player in college football. And everybody else is sort of crapped out. Mariota didn't play very well last night. He got some numbers in garbage time. I mean, who else would you say is good enough to be in the conversation? Braxton Miller, the guy I predicted to win the Heisman before the season, got hurt, the first game of the season or so, and he missed a lot of time. You can't put him in there and give him the Heisman. Jameis Winston, I still wonder about giving a redshirt freshman the Heisman. Not that I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying I know that people will think about it now that Johnny Manziel has acted a fool in the offseason. Can that young guy handle it? Jameis Winston's a completely different person. He probably deserves the ability to represent himself and not have Johnny Manziel represent him. So let's hit this real quickly before we hit a break. Maddie, the new information about the Jonathan Martin, Richie Incognito stuff with Miami has a lot of the players from Miami Dolphins backing up Incognito, saying they don't want anything to do with Jonathan Martin. I'm sort of shocked.
I find that very curious.
Not
that you're shocked.
Okay.
But that, yeah.
I thought you were sort of on the Incognito, well, not Incognito side, but you're a little anti-Martin.
I'm going to try and keep my language to... Yeah.
We're on the internet, but yeah. Please do.
Richie Incognito is not a good man.
Okay.
Well, I'll say that. So I do not feel sorry for him at all. I don't think he's being blackballed like some of these guys are saying. He's not a good guy.
No.
Let's just say it. He's an ass. And
he's not an honorary black man either. That's retarded.
This guy, he's a piece of work. Okay.
I understand the locker room.
That said, though, with everything that's coming out of the locker room, though, that everybody's saying the same thing.
Isn't that a little curious to you, though?
That's what I'm saying. They're all saying the same thing about Jonathan Martin, and that they didn't see anything over the line. Now, whether Richie Incognito... Because
you don't see voicemails and text messages.
That's the thing. Whether Richie Incognito was an ass or not, that's not illegal. That's not hazing just to be a jerk to somebody.
It is harassment. What he did was harassing him.
Yeah, but that's not hazing to be a jerk to somebody, and you deal with that. I just wonder, there has to be a whole lot more to this story.
This is what I want to know. And we'll never know this because the Dolphins, apparently the coaches told Incognito to toughen him up, right? So that's a word from on high, right? From the suits upstairs in the general manager's office, general manager Jeff Ireland, by the way, same guy who asked Des Bryant if his mom was a whore. He asked Des Bryant if you remember this, back when they were trying to decide if they wanted to take Des Bryant in the NFL draft, he asked Des Bryant if his mom was a prostitute. Jeff Ireland is an idiot. He's a terrible guy. He tells Jonathan Martin, when he comes to him, apparently Jonathan Martin came to management like he felt like he was supposed to do, asks what he's supposed to do. Ireland says, why don't you go punch him in the face? Why don't you go hit him? Why don't you resolve this physically? You're the general manager. You don't do that. I mean, if you're a coach, maybe you say, man, just take it out and go be a man. Yeah. But if you're the general manager and somebody comes to you with a concern like that, you cannot just say, don't be a man. Go punch him in the head. That's ridiculous. Jeff Ireland needs to go. I don't care if Joe Philbin takes the blame because he seems like a nice enough guy, and I know it is his locker room, but at the end of the day, these are grown men and professionals. But Jeff Ireland needs to go yesterday. He's awful. Long story short, though, it's a deep, deep conversation. I will give you I'm sort of a contrary I'm sort of a contrary opinion on this because I'm a lover, not a fighter, right? I'm not a real big guy. I'm 5'8", 150 pounds on a good day. I don't want to fight people. So if somebody is talking to me, harassing me in the way that Jonathan Martin was, I'm not going to want to be the guy that's just going to take up for myself by going up and punching a guy in the face. Why? Not because I don't think I'm afraid of losing the fight. I don't want to fight. I don't want to go punch somebody in the face because I don't want to get punched in the face. It's one of those golden rule type things. I don't want to go get punched in the face. I don't want to start a fight. If I can't deal with it if I'm Jonathan Martin, maybe he's got a personality that does not want that type of confrontation. Well, I don't want him on my offensive line. Well, Stanford did, and they did pretty well. He was a good player, a second-round draft pick. He's an NFL football player. He's good enough to play in the league. I don't think he's got any issues with aggression on the field. I think he can separate, his aggression on the field from how he needs to act and handle himself. And it shouldn't be one of those things where you question his manhood because he doesn't want to start a fight with a big crazy guy. It's just, to me, it's ridiculous that people are saying, well, why don't you just grow up and be a man? Because not everybody wants to fight. The end. I mean, call him whatever names you will, but he goes through the proper channels. He goes to the GM who says, it's just like dad saying, all right, well, you're just going to have to stand up for yourself. Not everybody is a fighter. It's not everybody wants to go about it that way. He comes to the authorities, the proper channels. They don't take care of it. What do you do if you're Jonathan Martin? I mean, if you don't want to go and literally fight the crazy guy, what do? You leave.
You smash his face into a car windshield.
Then take his mother, Dorothy, out to a nice seafood dinner and never call her again. Christmas 2013, Anchorman 2 comes out. You will be interested to watch it. All right, we got to hit a break. Jason Kilburn on the line. We got plenty more to talk about. What do you think about this Richie Incognito, Miami Dolphins, Jonathan Martin mess? Let us know. You can email me, mark@rivervalleyleader.com. I'd love to read your responses. Maybe you know some information that I don't, but I'm under the assumption right now that Jonathan Martin did about what he could do, and if there's anybody that I want on my team, it's most definitely not Richie Incognito. Having problems at every single turn, going everywhere he's been, he's had personality issues. He's had, problems with people.
He's had headbutting problems on the field, apparently.
He's freaking crazy. Charles Barkley said this the other day. You need a superstar and a crazy guy to win in the NBA, and it's that way in basically any sport. You need some crazy folks, and offensive linemen are, for the most part, nuts.
Yeah, and I think he may be a little bit dumb because he headbutted that guy when he was with the Rams, at least.
And he didn't have his helmet on, right?
No, he did. And both of them did. So why are you headbutting somebody with
I'm thinking
your
Kyle
helmet
Turley.
on?
He's the guy.
It doesn't really hurt if you...
A long time ago. Yeah. Anyway, we've got plenty to talk about in the last about 20 minutes of the Sports Blitz, so stay tuned.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. We've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
Here's what you missed.
updated news,
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
developing stories,
There's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
and weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
Count on KRK4 today.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peter's Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peter's Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
We are welcomed. We are welcome. We are joined now, and we would like to welcome Mr. Jason Kilburn to the show on a Friday. Thank you for joining us here on the Sports Blitz. Mark Freeman, Maddie Laster in the Cogswell Motors studios. Jason Kilburn on the line. Jason, what's going on, man?
Man, not much, man. Just enjoying this beautiful day. Ready to listen to some high school football tonight. As the playoffs, people get in position for the playoff run, and ready to listen to the basketball game tonight, Razorbacks basketball, and then, of course, Ole Miss and Razorback tomorrow. So it's an exciting weekend in the sports, and for me anyways. And, you got NFL on Sunday, so really can't ask for much more than that.
Are you going to go watch Dardanelle Mina tonight?
Man, no, probably not going to get to tonight.
So
my daughter's supposed to be coming down, so I think I'll hang around the house, because I don't think she'll want to do that.
Yeah, I thought you might go listen with the go Archie Manning and have the headphones on and be at the game watching and then listening to whatever else. It'd be funny I'd like to see SNL do a skit about Archie Manning. I wish they had done it back in the day where you wonder about what's going on in his headphones and he's listening to like something crazy, some gangster rap or something. Anyway, that's an aside from what we're actually going to look at. It's Hog Talk time. Talk a little bit about the Razorbacks. We haven't done a whole lot of prep for this, or I say prep. We haven't done a whole lot of predictions and breakdowns for the Ole Miss game, and that's because we both, I assume, think that they're going to lose. I've got Arkansas falling 37-23, which, believe it or not, from what I'd heard, 16 to 17 points was the spread that I saw. That would have Arkansas covering the spread, and for those sports investors, if they took Arkansas and my score turned out to be right, Arkansas would win them some money. But Jason, I feel like Arkansas is going to give up some points. Lots of stuff going on with Arkansas right now, and I've got some stuff to talk about here in a minute. But as far as the game goes, what do you expect from the Hogs against Ole Miss?
I think the Hogs are going to bounce back. Now, when I say bounce back, that doesn't mean that I still don't think they're going to win, but I think the game's going to be a lot closer than what people expect. The line's 17, and if I was a betting man, I would take Hogs all day long in the point. I think there's, of course, last week, I didn't get to come on Monday and talk about the game, but there were some positives that I saw in the game, and I think that's going to carry over. I think we'll continue to see building blocks for the foundation and for the future of the Razorbacks. And, when you got Jonathan Williams and Alex Collins, I think we'll be able to run the ball. And in my opinion, I know Brandon Allen didn't have a great game last week. He was 10 of 22, but I think he threw the ball a lot better. And, that deep pass that he threw to Herndon probably should have caught that. But I think Arkansas is going to be able to move the ball against them. The thing that worries me is we just do not have any linebackers that like to tackle, and our secondary gets burned all the time.
Yeah.
But I think the game will be close, and I think Hogs will play within, 7 or 10 points.
Wow. Well, I do feel like that they're going to have to show some fight this week. There's so much drama, man. So much crap going on. Just from last week, we kind of joked about it, but Brett Bielema going back and forth with Gus Malzahn, and I've heard that there was a phone call between the two of them, and that Brett Bielema said it was a very positive conversation, and then he threw in the little, I don't know if you heard this, Jason, the little note that about the player that was injured, supposedly injured. You know, the sniper got him for Auburn. He just fell down for no good reason. Brett Bielema said something like, well, if that guy was really hurt, I hope he's getting better. Kind of cracked me up.
I did see that. You know, and the funny thing is, you know, he didn't play the rest of that game. But, you know, he gets up, he makes the tackle, he gets up, walks back over there, and then, like you're saying, sniper comes out of nowhere and just takes him down. I mean, he just falls down on the ground. But I thought it was funny that Malzahn came out and said, you know, he's day-to-day, you know, he's got a sprained knee, and he's day-to-day. If he's got a sprained knee, he's not going to be able to walk over there the way he did. You know, it's funny that Malzahn said, you know, during the SEC Media Day that, you know, a way that people are slowing down these fast-paced offenses is because, you know, they'll have players that are fake injuries. Well, he faked the injury, you know, so it's kind of all, you know, comes back around. But it was funny for both of them to kind of go back and forth. And the handshake, you know, I got there before the game, probably a couple hours before the game, so I was going to make sure that I saw the handshake before and after. And you could tell that neither one of them was very happy about, you know, going up and shaking their hand. I mean, it was real. I bet it wasn't more than 10 or 15 seconds, and so I thought it was kind of funny that happened too.
Wow, I didn't see that. So, honestly, it's just more drama on top of a crappy season. So, that's what I'm saying, though. I feel like it's causing I don't want to say it's Brett Bielema's personality, but I feel like the losses mounting up has caused a negative impact on recruiting. We'll see how Goolsby does here, and I'm hoping that it'll break in the next 15 minutes so that we can let you know about it on the air. Love it when news breaks while we're here so that we can fix it. But we have, hopefully, Arkansas will be able to turn things around recruiting-wise. Jason, we've had, like we mentioned, Illuminor and Quishy Brown who have decommitted. Illuminor, I think it was because he didn't want to come into a rebuilding project. You're hearing something different about Quishy Brown. Now, before Jason gets into this, you know, we don't ever want to just bash players, and we don't want to really make assumptions, but the things that we're hearing kind of line up with, you know, the fact that Quishy Brown was expected to come in and be an early enrollee, be here for the spring. Jason?
Yeah, the thing with Quishy Brown is Arkansas had him as their number one cornerback that they were recruiting. So when he jumped on board, that was their guy that they expected him to come in and compete for a starting job. And I know you probably want that with most junior college players, but they was really had high hopes for him. And the plan was for him to come into December or graduate in December and then enroll in January and get to go through spring practice. But the thing is, he's not going to be able to enroll early out of school, so that was a mark against him because Arkansas likes for their junior college kids to be able to go through spring practice and get familiar with the system before, you know, just jumping into the regular season during the fall camp. But, yeah, he was number one on the board, and now his three finalists are USC, Arizona State, and Washington. So the schools that are still recruiting him are, I mean, some big-time players, you know, big-time schools. But and another thing is the algebra class. You know, the SEC's got that rule, you know, about the algebra class that you got to pass algebra and all that stuff to get in, which is hard for some more junior college players to come in. And they're saying that he was probably going to pass that, but the main reason that Arkansas and him split ways was because he wasn't going to be able to enroll in January.
Well, that makes sense because you want a guy who can come in and contribute, especially as a junior college player. You want a guy to get in as early as possible and really get in acclimated with the system. So maybe that's why he decided not to come to Arkansas, and it wasn't because of a lack of competitive nature. You know, Maddie and I made fun of it earlier, the fact that he wants to stay in the Pac-12 where sissy football's played for the most part, except for Stanford. I'm just joking about sissy football. Let's hit a break real quickly, Maddie, and then we've got to hit some Arkansas basketball because the season really begins in earnest tonight against Southern Illinois, Edwardsville. College basketball as a whole tips off tonight. You've got the Kansas Andrew Wiggins Fest that's going to take place tonight. Kentucky and the rest of the college basketball world really gets going tonight. And I want to talk about basketball here in just a little bit. Maybe get some predictions before the actual season starts from Jason and I. So stay tuned. We've got one more segment left on the Sports Blitz.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. You know, we've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
Here's what you missed.
updated news,
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
developing stories,
There's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
and weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance of rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
KRK4 today.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peter's Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peter's Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
Welcome back to the Sports Blitz on a Friday. It's our final segment of the week. Trying to situate here in the break. We got high school basketball coming up in a couple of days. I guess it's 4 days from now. You've got the Russellville Cyclones on Tuesday night taking on the Hector Wildcats. The Pottsville Apaches taking on Clinton. And then the 19th, or I guess the 16th, is when the Clarksville Panthers are taking on their intra-squad scrimmage. And then the 19th, they're playing Fort Smith Northside in their season opening exhibition. So looking forward to some basketball. We're going to talk Hog basketball here in just a minute, but I wanted to give Jason the opportunity to, I don't want to say rebut, but have his opinion heard on the Oregon-Stanford stuff last night. Jason, you asked a question in the break about whether or not I thought Arkansas would end up running the style that Stanford is employing or employed last night if Brett Bielema had everything his way. Maybe if he had everything his way, they would run that style and system. But I'm more of a guy who wants balance because, as crazy as it seems, when you don't put the ball in the air, I think that it's kind of risky to play that style because, you rely so much on your defense that if you don't get a stop or so, and if you don't get those first downs running the football, you can put yourself in a bad situation real quick and your game plan just goes kaput. And then what do you do? So, I'm one that I don't want to see Arkansas just run the ball every single play. It's boring for me. Also, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, I hate it. But I do have to respect what Stanford did to Oregon last night, Jason, in that they said basically, we don't respect you. We're going to pound you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, they did, and that's what they did. But I'm with you. I want to see more balance. I don't want to be just a run team. And I think with Chaney, if he stays on as offense coordinator for the next, say 3 to 4 years, I think you'll see a good balance. But I don't know if Arkansas is going to be able to get the defensive players in here also to play that style of style of brand, with just pound, and then you stop everybody on defense. It's going to be hard to do that, but I hope that's not what I see at Arkansas. Somebody sent me that message, and that's why I asked you that during the break. And Stanford, they've been very successful at doing that, but I don't think the Arkansas fan base, after what Petrino had here, with airing it out, I think a lot of fans, like you're saying, would probably be bored with that. Now, if that wins, I still don't think the fan base would like that too much, even if it was winning. But I'm with you. I think we need a good balance, a good run and a good pass to be successful in the SEC.
Yeah, I'm more Alabama. Of course, I said that to Matty earlier before the show, and he was like, well, duh, everybody wants to play like Alabama. I'm more an Alabama run for 200 yards, pass for 200 yards, balance type guy. That's what I would prefer. So I'm hoping that Arkansas can get to that one day. And I feel like with the fact that Brett Bielema brought in Chaney, that's sort of what he's going for now. He brought in Pittman too, so he wants to have a good, nasty offensive line that can run the ball. But you don't get a guy like Alex Collins who's so shifty and so fast, and he's not necessarily a just between the tackles guy. And then platoon him with Jonathan Williams, who sort of is a between the tackles guy, if you don't want to have some sort of variety to your offense. So I see what Brett Bielema's doing, and I think that it's going to eventually work as far as keeping a balance and taking the Alabama method and applying it. I just wonder about the recruiting. And Jason, I know you're following it a little closer than I am. Does it seem like Arkansas is gaining any traction, or do you think these losses are sort of hurting things?
That's kind of hard to say. I think, yes, it probably does hurt, but I think it's also showing recruits, hey, man, if you're good enough, you can come in here and play from day one. And I think he's also showing recruits that he's got, Skipper and Kirkland and Collins and Henry and, Brooks Ellis now is starting on defense. So I think it's showing them it doesn't matter what if you're a junior, senior, or whatnot, that if you play and you buy into the system and you buy into that program, that you're going to be out there on the field. And it doesn't matter if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. So I think he'll be able to say, hey, if you come here, you're going to be able to play right away. But I think, of course, I think nobody's wanting to play for a team that's rebuilding. Everybody, if they're good enough, if they're big-time players, they're going to go to a team that's got a chance to maybe not win the national championship, but be very competitive and, win the conference or whatnot. So I think I see both sides of it, but it seems like he's still in on a lot of big-time recruits, so maybe he can close as good as he did last year.
Well, I hope so, man. I wish that this Goolsby information would come across in the next couple minutes so that we could share that, but it doesn't look like it's going to. Maybe it's another tight end. They've got a tight end who is committed, Pierce, right? Is he from the same high school? I think he is, Plantation, Florida, where Alex Collins is from. Is that right?
Well, he's from Plantation, Florida, but it's not the same high school.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
same
sure
town
on that, but I don't think it is. And you was talking about Goolsby. Goolsby's actually from Kansas. He's not from Florida. Roseland Pierce is the kid from Florida, and Goolsby's the kid from Kansas. But Arkansas is not just recruiting him as a tight end, too. And he's a big 6'4", probably 220, runs like a 4.5. I'm talking about Goolsby now. And Arkansas is just recruiting him as an athlete more than anything, really, to play the wide receiver and tight end. So he could be like maybe more like a Hunter Henry, but a little bit quicker. And so they're looking at him as a wide receiver and a tight end. And from the last thing I read on him, it's down to his choices are Arkansas and Kansas State. Now, his dad went to Kansas State and played, so there's a good chance he's going there, but Arkansas still feels like they're in the mix on him.
Well, that's good news, man. That's good news. All right, college basketball tips tonight. Let's transition to Razorback basketball as they take on SIU Edwardsville tonight at Bud Walton Arena. 7 o'clock tip. I almost thought about going to this game, but I'm probably going to save my trips and maybe go on the 7th when they play Clemson at Bud Walton. I've cooled a little bit, Jason, on my prediction for the Hogs. I said that I thought that they could be in the top 5, and I'm not saying that they can't. I'm just so worried. I say worried, so concerned about the lack of just a consistent scorer and somebody who can. I know the point guard issue, is going to come up, and I know you're going to mention it here in just a minute. And it'd be nice to have a Corey Beck, floor general type guy. But I'm just worried about who's going to put the dang ball in the basket. You can't rely on trash baskets like Alandis Harris. He's a junkyard dog. I mean, he's going to get in there and get boards, and he's going to get trash baskets, and it seems like that's what Moses Kingsley is. He's not a real polished offensive guy yet, and you're going to have Bobby Portis, who can hit some shots every once in a while, but he's sort of going to be 10-point-a-game-ish scorer, it appears. But I wonder who's going to put the ball in the basket for the Hogs. It leads me to believe that they're still going to be a middle-of-the-pack SEC team, although I do think that they're going to be a little more exciting. I think the rules also, Jason, will hamper Arkansas more than anybody else in the SEC, save maybe Missouri.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love the hand-checking, and since they're really going to enforce that this year, I think that's going to hurt Arkansas's defense quite a bit, but seems like Anderson's really trying to adjust his defense to, more move your feet, slide, and stay in front of your guy instead of, a lot of hand checking. But I'm with you on the, I just don't think we have a proven scorer. I don't think we have a guy that we can just get the ball to and be like, take your man off the dribble, Bill's probably our best pure shooter, but the other night he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So we need a constant scorer, a constant shooter, somebody that's going to be able to fill it up, with 15 points a game. And I think if Antoine Beard, he'll be coming in next year. I think if he was on this team, I think that would help Arkansas out a lot because he can break down the defender and penetrate and kick to the wide open guy, which that's what Arkansas needs. And maybe Madden will be that guy, but with him being suspended, I just don't know if his head's going to be on straight where, Anderson was saying in the preseason that he's got everything in line, and this is going to be the year that his coming out party, and that he's going to look like the big time recruit that Arkansas was hoping for when they brought him in. But still, we just need some wing players to fill it up, and I think it's what's going to hold Arkansas back this year.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot in the last minute or so of the show here. Who's going to win the national championship in college basketball this year? It's tough to predict.
If Kentucky's players live up to their hype and they're as good as what they've got the number one point guard, the number one shooting guard, the number one small forward, number one power forward, and the number one center. They brought all that in this year, with I think 7 McDonald's All-Americans, and I think they've got 8 McDonald's All-Americans on their team now. If all those players live up to the hype, it's going to be hard to beat Kentucky, and I hate to say that because I cannot stand Kentucky.
Yeah, looking at the rankings, Kentucky number 1, Michigan State 2, Louisville 3, Duke 4, Kansas 5. I do feel like this year is a year that you can look at those rankings and one of those top 5 teams is going to win it. Kentucky, to me, picking them to win the national championship and picking them to be number 1 in the country are two different things. Picking them to be number 1 in the country is based on the talent that they've got on their team. Picking them to win the national championship says that talent's going to mold, mesh properly, in a couple months they're going to be able to play against a Michigan State-style team that wants to limit possessions, wants to run a million set plays, and have 17 seniors on the roster, and Tom Izzo, who's one of the great coaches of all time. Just it's going to be tough for them to stand up to that. And the Louisville pressure, full court, the Duke smart players under Coach K, Kansas and Andrew Wiggins with Bill Self and a lot of talent there in Kansas. I think that if I were to pick, I would say that Louisville, it's going to be hard for them to repeat, especially no Peyton Siva. They're not going to have a proven point guard. But Michigan State or Duke would be one of the 2 teams that I think will win it. Jabari Parker was number 1 before Andrew Wiggins as far as best player in the country goes, and people had him slated as better than Andrew Wiggins till this last summer when Wiggins just went crazy in the summer league stuff before their junior season. So people forget Jabari Parker's really good there at Duke. So I think one of those 2 teams is going to be able to do it. Do you think Arkansas is going to make the tournament, Jason? That's the final question I'll ask you today.
I don't think so. I think we're going to be a bubble team, but I don't think Arkansas, with the SEC only getting 3 teams in the SEC and in the NCAA tournament next year, last year, I don't think Arkansas can sneak up to the 4 or 5 spot to maybe even have a chance to get in. I just think we're still a year or two away from getting some good guards in there to make that next jump.
I'm sort of with you. I think they're going to be on the periphery and in the conversation, but at the end of the day, I don't know that they're going to get in. If they get in, I'll be excited, just as happy as the next guy. But I don't see it happening this year. I wonder how hot the seat's going to get under Mike Anderson. If they don't show a really good promise and really marked improvement, I'm not sure that Mike Anderson's going to be able to last much longer. He'll get through this year, and maybe if next year turns out to be better, he'll continue. But I can already hear the rumblings starting, so it's going to be interesting. College basketball tips off tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Jason, thank you for calling today, and we'll talk to you again on Monday.
All right, sounds good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Take it easy. That's Jason Kilburn. We appreciate his time on a Friday. That's all the time we've got for today. Go out and watch your high school football team tonight. Go out and watch Arkansas Tech tomorrow before the Arkansas football game begins there in Ole Miss. Tech Wonder Boys start at 2 o'clock. Got plenty of college basketball, college football, NFL, plenty of sports stuff this weekend. So Monday's going to be a jam-packed show. For Maddie, I'm Mark, saying so long. We'll see you at 11 o'clock on Monday with more Sports Blitz.